to the 3x5 Live
podcast.
All right, this podcast, our mission is purpose-driven productivity. Last week, we spoke about longevity, Dan Buettner's work with the Blue Zones, Dr. Walter Longo's work at the University of Southern California on longevity.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to probably do Dr. Longo's Prolong fast again.
I know. I saw you researching it the other day. You said they had some new products out.
Yeah, I might have to commit to that live.
All right.
Hold me to it.
I'll do it.
Then it'll be a week of misery for you as you watch me suffer.
Yes, and be grumpy.
Yes, and I'm grumpy and don't want to play with the kids. So this week, we are going to be talking about kind of wellness, mental health wellness, that is. So we've been engaging a lot with corporations, and they've been using and reaching out to us to utilize the cards to address mental wellness for their employees, for their staff, which is a pretty hot topic right now in this era of COVID and, kind of being concerned about your employees' well-being. So we've done some seminars, kicked off purpose-driven productivity masterclasses with them. So we're just going to talk a little bit about mental wellness today and kind of how we're engaging in that topic.
Yeah, so we actually had the opportunity to work with a pretty big organization. And like Bri said, the wellness thing for corporations, it's so big right now. And I think it's big always, but I think the priority of let's do something to give back to our employees to make them feel their best self, because they recognize that goes hand in hand with the productivity of the person. This is with schools, this is with staff. And, when I was a teacher, we used to get like teacher appreciation gifts, and it would be like a pen that you could like click. So doing something that has more of a wellness self-care component to it, I think is really nice. And so corporations seem to be biting and realizing that this should be a priority. So putting the cards and the system in like a wellness package has been really awesome. We've seen a couple corporations who have done that. But the piece is also the education piece.
Yes.
I really felt strongly that if we give the cards to 350 people or 400 people without some type of like, well, why are you using this and what's the science behind it, that we were doing a disservice to them. So I had the opportunity to do a really cool class, a master class with one of the organizations who bought a bulk set of our product last week. And it was awesome. And when we were setting up and creating this masterclass and what we would want to talk about and how can we use the cards to hit those pillars that we were so excited about. Right. Like the purpose of this card for us was to create something that would help people feel great and feel better. And so when I was talking to them, I looked at the power of group dynamics when it comes to creating a culture of positivity, gratitude, celebrating our wins, creating habits that help eliminate stress. Time management is one of the biggest stress causes of any person, because when we feel like we're overwhelmed, we shut down. And so how are we using the cards to help manage our time? And so I banked this, or kind of like anchored this in the PERMA, which I don't know if we've talked on here before, but Martin Seligman, who is out of Penn, has a positive psychology, actually master's degree now. It's called MAP. But he wrote the book Flourish. And in this book, it talks about what are some pillars that organizations can utilize in order to practice positivity and workplace culture. And so I banked the cards in those pillars. Like the first one is positive emotions. And so the question I asked them was like, when are you happiest at work? Or, what practices do you have in place so that you are exhibiting positive emotions, which ties perfectly into, when we're looking at the card, the AM gratitude. How are you starting your day with that positivity so that you have that influx of oxytocin and serotonin, you're reducing your cortisol stress hormones, and you're starting your day on the right foot. And imagine what the power of a team would be like if every person was doing that. So when they come to work, how one negative comment derails an entire productivity session with a group of people.
Yep.
So if you have this group of people who's feeling good and feeling fulfilled, and they sit down to solve a problem or work through something, just that mindset shift first thing in the morning can be so, so powerful. The second one was engagement. So how do you utilize your strengths in order to show up at work? And I had them dialogue with their teams about these conversations, because it's fascinating when you sit down with a team and recognize what someone's strengths are, and they say it out loud, or when they feel like they're thriving, because you can use that information to double down and even be more productive, because you're tapping into untapped resources. Relationships, when we do these courses or when I do these master classes, it's so important for me to give people space to offer gratitude for people who they work with, to offer positivity about things that they love about their job, and to look at what's working well versus what's not working, because just that shift puts you in that place of positivity and gratitude. The other part is meaning and accomplishment, which I love that because it ties directly into that PM win section of the card. When we talk about celebrations as, even just Bryan and I both celebrating like our wins, it's really powerful when he explains to me, like, this was my highlight of my day. And I do the same thing, or even doing it at the dinner table with our kids. What was your win today? What was something that made you feel really great? So when you do that with the people you work for or with, you're celebrating common goals and common wins, and that sense of like not just moving on to the next thing before recognizing that you just did something super awesome.
So big.
Right, is huge. And so how are we using that to look at our achievements and to celebrate our achievements? And I loved the conversations that came out of it. The people who were participating, I think that they weren't used to maybe my energy or the way that I had them in breakout rooms and kind of working through some things. But the feedback was really, really great. And I think more than anything, they just appreciated looking at the like zoomed out version of what like their culture in these working teams and organizations kind of felt like.
Mm-hmm. And you did something neat too, where when they talked, the other person couldn't talk at all.
Oh, the paired interview.
Yes. Yeah. So then it really like works on that listening muscles, and these people felt heard when we talked to, some of these were softer subjects, if you will, within a corporate atmosphere that people might not be used to engaging with each other on. And just being heard within that space, I think, is powerful in and of itself.
So Bry's talking, I use this choreography in my presentations called paired interviews, which I actually learned through Exchange, which is I guess another organization that I'm kind of a part of. But the science behind this paired interview is that you're talking one-on-one to somebody, but you are asking them a series of 3 questions that are anchored in a past, a present, and a future. So it was something like, when was a time you felt most aligned with your self-care? And this is something you can ask yourself right now as I'm saying this. Like, how did that impact your productivity? Because it is absolutely apparent that when you feel your best, you have all of the energy to do all of the things. And so that is the first piece, is like, get that piece in place and then watch what happens with your productivity.
Here we go.
Here we go. The question 2 was, what's something that is currently a distraction? That's that time suck. That's that black hole that you get into during your day that's taking away from your productivity and your time. And then that's causing stress for you. And then the third is, 1 year from now, what are we celebrating? What's a win? Which then allows them to create those micro habits that they're working on every single day to reach that future goal. And so these conversations, when they went through it, the speaker talks 1, 2, and 3. And the other person just listens. They can't even like say anything, which is really awkward when you're doing a conversation. But what happens is people start to divulge information that they wouldn't have otherwise, because the conversation doesn't get hijacked. It's not like, oh, yeah, that happens to me too, and blah, blah, because that's just a natural conversation. And so I think a lot of people were able to have some ahas because they were working through these prompts real time. And the feedback from the person is just an acknowledgement and celebration of what they said. Like, oh, I really connected to you when you said. It's a different way to dialogue, and it does not happen in corporations and schools often enough.
Yes.
So I think that just the opportunity to do that. And then the end of it was just the action steps. Like, what can we do? We just talked about all these pieces. How can we use this simple system in order to, like Bri always says, like even the scheduling, like your big rocks the night before, like how do we use that time, putting it on the card so that it gets it away from your brain and allows you to have like restful sleep so that you wake up again feeling energized and ready to go. So it was a really cool experience. I'm really excited to do some more of them because I totally believe in the power of groups working towards that positive feelings, the positivity at work, the mindset shifts that help them thrive.
Yes. And it might seem like an hour, another obligation in your day for a lot of corporations. But what you can gain out of that and the strengths and the bonds and just one little nugget, little takeaway that can help a team as you use Flourish a little more, can just build mountains over time.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's it's a good excuse to be able to like talk to people who you work with every day, but you don't even know like their backstory, because I ask them to go personal, like show a picture of something that brings you joy. And usually it's their kids or their dog or a place they love to visit. And you might learn something. You sit next to somebody in a cubicle every single day of your life, but you might learn something that makes them more human. And when we connect our human side with each other, the things that you can create from that are so much more meaningful and powerful. So
exactly.
So that's all I got. I just wanted to share because I was so excited. We had such good feedback and I felt really great about it. And I'm excited to do more of these. And I'm not trying to plug this, but if your corporation or a team or an organization that might be interested in kind of investing in their mental health and their well-being, and this sounds like something that might be beneficial, I would love for you to reach out and I'd be happy to talk to you about it, because this fills my cup. It's my passion and I love doing it.
Exactly. So that's what we got this week,
That's
guys.
all. Sorry, I talked a lot.
And if you have not subscribed, please do write a review. And until next week, have a fantastic
week. No?
Yes.
Yes, week.
See ya.
See ya.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning. Time to go.